So there's a viral video that came out today, or a viral news story of a white woman who pulls a gun on a black woman and her 15-year-old daughter. If you look at the headlines that came out around this, you would think that this is the most racist woman in the world. That was my initial impression. I read the headlines. Sadly, and this is an important stat, 80% of people do not read actual articles and do not do research into what they're reading. They just read the headline. And so I noticed these headlines, each one, I'm going to go over each one of them, said white woman pulls gun on black woman and her 15-year-old daughter. White woman pulls gun on blacks, just as a generic statement. And this led me to start typing in basic search terms, like black person, black man, white man. And the results I found are astonishing. And it really, really proves that the media is pushing a race war. Not only pushing a race war, but instilling fear in one community while telling another community that they are very, very oppressive. Now, I want to just address some basic stats before we even jump into this because it's important. If you look at the basic stats of killings, black on white is double the amount, just by sheer numbers. There's twice as many black people killing white people as there are white people killing black people per year. Here's the other important thing. Both numbers are very low. Roughly 500 a year in terms of black on white, and roughly 200 a year white on black. So neither community, neither race is killing each other at exorbitant numbers. There's a very, 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 very small minority in both races who go out and target other people. There's also a small minority who actually commit crime in their own communities that are responsible for the vast majority of homicide or whatever it is. So the majority of people are not violent. The chances of being killed by someone of the opposite race is extremely low regardless of your race. Now, the only reason I'm bringing up those stats is because it's important. Because when you see these search results, the way the media perpetuates this is that white people are killing black people every day. If you were to just look at the search results that I found, and I'm going to show them, I'm going to put them here. I'm not denying anything. You can go on Google and do this for yourself and just type in the same search terms. Both sides, you would believe that African Americans are victims of hate crimes from whites all day, every day, and that white people are constantly killing black people. That's just that. There's no way to come to a different conclusion when you look at the search results. That's just what it is. That's the reason I pointed out the stats. They're really pushing fear, and they're pushing race-based fear. The media is fueling a race war. All right, so let's just look at some of these from the biggest newspapers in the country, and this is around the current one we see today. White woman pulls gun on black woman, daughter, during parking lot argument. Okay, so this paints it like the white woman pulled a gun on her just because they were having an argument. Notice how race is always mentioned in this. Couple charged after video shows white woman pulling gun on black woman. Daily Mail, moment a white woman pulls a handgun on a black family in Michigan parking lot after they harangue her and accuse her of being racist after so she's the victimizer, bumped into them outside a Chipotle restaurant. White Michigan couple arrested after gun pulled on blacks. Now this one's really out there. This one implies that she's just out pulling guns on black people. And if you only read this headline, you would think that this woman is the devil. Here's another one from The Hill. Video shows white woman drawing gun on black mother, daughter. You cannot just walk around calling white people racist. Here's another one from USA Today. White Michigan couple charged with assault. Man fired after video shows woman pointing gun at black family in Chipotle parking lot. And here's the video that the media is actually showing. They actually selectively edited the video to just show this part where the gun's out and the woman is screaming.
A rather shocking scene unfold on cell phone video with the barrel of the gun pointed straight at the camera. We've just learned that woman and the driver of the car have been charged with felonious assault.
The most disturbing part of all this, and the most dangerous part, is that the media is intentionally leaving out the entire confrontation that led up to this point. At this point, I'm going on every news site and I can't even find the entire confrontation of the video. The only part they're showing is the part that makes the white woman look like she's instigated this entire thing, is crazy racist, and pointed a gun at the woman. This is not one news site doing this. This is all of them. I'm actually literally right now looking for the full video, which I saw earlier today, and it's been removed, which is very weird, but I'm going to keep looking for it and hopefully I find it, and I'm going to show you the whole video.
To violate a 15-year-old.
No, I'm asking a question. She's a child.
She bumped into me when
So if she did something wrong, she needs to apologize. If she did
This
something
ignorant
wrong,
woman bumped into a 15-year-old.
right? Correct?
And you're on camera.
Okay.
You're feeling threatened.
Okay, well, go in.
No, Mom.
I got this.
You're blocking me from getting in my car.
No, we weren't. No, we weren't. No, we weren't. You're ignorant.
Go ahead, call them.
No, we will, but you're not going to sit there and violate a 15-year-old.
She's ignorant.
Do it, bitch. Do it.
Go ahead.
Do it. I want you to
Call
do
the
something.
police.
She's very ignorant.
Dumbass bitch. Yeah, I said it. You say something, I'll beat your white ass too. Oh, I
You-
will. Do something. Please put your
Do
motherfucking
something.
hands up.
Do something.
Please.
Who the fuck do you think you guys
Who do
are?
you
Who
think
do
you
you,
are?
your wife think you are?
You calling her name?
yeah,
She
you-
did nothing to
Yeah,
you.
I
she
didn't.
apologize.
I
Go ahead,
didn't.
Kayla.
No, you didn't. You're very racist and ignorant.
You're racist because you're calling
No,
her
you
name.
bumped it. She bumped into it.
Why would you bump into
You
her?
cannot just
Why
walk
would
around
you
calling
bump her?
white
Why
people
would you bump her?
racist. This is not that
Why
type
would
of
you
world.
bump her?
White people
Why
are
would
racist.
you bump her?
No one's
Why
racist.
would you bump her?
I
Why
care
did you
about
say
you.
sorry?
I care
Why
about
did you say
you,
sorry?
and I'm sorry if you've
Why
had an
did you say
incident
sorry?
that has made
If you
someone
bumped
make
into
you
her,
feel
why
like
did you
that.
say sorry?
No one is racist.
If you didn't do
I'm
anything,
sorry
why did
if
you do
you
that?
had something like that happen.
Ignorant. Ignorant. Very. Mom, watch.
Get the fuck away from me!
You gonna get on her face.
You better get on my fucking face.
Right now, get away.
Get the fuck away!
Get the fuck
Get
back.
away. Get the fuck away.
Are you gonna hit? You gonna shoot me?
Get the fuck away.
Oh!
Get away. Call the cops right now. Call them.
Oh!
Call the cops.
Get the fuck away.
Call the cops.
Get away.
She got the gun on me. He
Call
about to
them
hit me
now.
with the car. Call them. I'm telling. Get the
Call
license
the
plate.
cops.
Get the license plate.
So disgusting how they manipulate the entire part. They cut out the entire escalation to just show, bam, a gun on the woman. So this led me to look at these search terms. And what did I find in these search terms? Well, it's very compelling to prove that the media is fueling a race war and that the media is escalating these things. So going into this, I didn't know what to expect, but this is what I found. All right, so the first thing I typed in was white man shoots black man. There's 153 million search results for this. Now, the first thing that comes up is Ahmed Arbery, white man used racial slur after shooting. Let's just look at the headlines. That's what's important. Atlanta police chief resigns after officer shoots and kills and we know that that's a black man. Mistaken apartment shooting, and this talks about how a black man was killed. Maurice Gordon shooting. Carlos Carson Tulsa shooting. So that last one with Carlos Carson was video emerges of MAGA-loving Tulsa ex-jailer shooting unarmed black man. So all of these so far are about black men being shot by white people or police. Let's keep going. Nebraska DA wants grand jury to review black man's death. Atlanta cop charged with murder for shooting black man. Unarmed black man doesn't mean what you think it means. Controversy erupts after white cop kills unarmed black man. U.S. protesters call attention to deaths of more black men. Atlanta officers who fatally shot Rayshard Brooks has been, etc. So if you just were to look at these first few pages of search results when you type in white man shoots black man, everything has to do with a white man or a white police officer specifically shooting a black person who is unarmed. That's just a narrative. If you were to read these search results, you would think that hundreds of black people are dying daily and that it's all by white cops and that all the black people are unarmed. Now, we know from stats that this is incredibly unlikely. We know from stats, like I said, in 2019, there were 9 unarmed black men killed by police. Police of all nationalities. Not all of the police who killed the unarmed black men were white, but if you were to look at this, you would think there's 9 a day. So the media, when you type in white man shoots black man, is obviously only writing articles that have to do with black unarmed people being killed and perpetuating it like it's happening en masse. Again, 250 million white people and approximately 200 black people killed from white people. But if I were to just look at these articles, and if I were to just look at the search results, I would think that it's a genocide. That's the honest truth. And I actually hear that. I constantly hear my friends saying, black bodies are piling up on the street, my black brothers and sisters are dying, and making it seem like there's a genocide specifically from white to black people. In other words, white people killing black people, whether it's cops or otherwise. That's the narrative. That's what people now believe, and they're actually fearful of cops. They're actually fearful of white people, whatever that may be. Now let's look at the next search term, because this gets interesting. So now I type in black man shoots white man. So let's just look at the search terms that come up. Black Fresno man fed up with racism when he killed 4 white people. Now this is the first thing that came up, and it's actually the only one I could find where a black person is killing a white person. It's the only article I could find that the media wanted to report about where they actually put the race of the person killing the other person where it was black on white. But then you look at everything under that. Atlanta police chief resigns after shoots and kills and it's black person. In other words, even when you type black man shoots white man, the search results are of a white police officer killing a black man. Man accused of killing 4 in California. It's the same one up here. Ahmed Arbery. So again, we have a white person killing a black person. Maurice Gordon shooting. White person killing a black person. Atlanta police Erica Shield resigns after fatally shooting a black person. Sheboygan police officer shoots and kills, and again, it's about shoots and kills an unarmed black man. Controversy erupts after white cop kills armed black man. White Phoenix police officer shoots and kills unarmed black man. Mistaken apartment shooting. This has to do with a black man being killed. White state trooper shoots unarmed black man. This is truly fascinating. If you look, when I typed in white shoots black, every single article was perpetuating white people shooting black people en masse. And if you looked at the headlines, they were very, very inflammatory. Now when I type in black shoots white, interestingly enough, 90% of them are actually about white people shooting black people. It also might imply biased search algorithms that are just refusing to show me any articles that anyone has ever written where a black person shoots a white person. But wait, it goes further. I decided to search the term white people, the most generic term you could search. I didn't think there'd be anything inflammatory about typing white people into Google. I didn't think that that should produce a bunch of racially heated articles, but let's see what comes up when you type in white people. Dear white people, here are 5 uncomfortable truths, black people, etc. Why more white people care about racial injustice right now. There is no neutral. Nice white people can still be racist. White people are already experts on racism. Opinion to white people who want to be one of the good. White person to white person, you're doing it wrong. Dear white people, if you have ever had any of these things, and this talks about kind of racial injustice, if you look right here, police murdering black people in the streets is awful, period, end of discussion. It's another article talking about how white people shouldn't have an opinion on any of this stuff and how black people are oppressed. That's what came up when I typed in white people. Keeps going. McBrayer, I've had an education every white person needs. And this talks about how he understands racism. Racism and protests. What should white people do about it? White fragility. Why it's so hard for white people to talk about race. Unmasking racial microaggression. Embarrassed as a white person. On being a white person of color. Explaining privilege to a broke white person. Can a white person understand the black experience? Dear white people in advertising, from a fellow white person in advertising. Okay, so some of these are just actually insane. Explaining privilege to a broke white person. That's what comes up when you type in white people. Dear white people in advertising. Every single article has to do with white people oppressing black people. Every single article has to do with white people being villains. And this is crazy. I just typed in the term white people. And the first 3 pages, I could keep going. If you go down to the 10th page, the same articles come up talking about how white people are oppressive, white people are racist, white people are doing it wrong, white people need to change, white people aren't good allies. How does this not eventually lead to a race war? If you're a white person reading this, I'm not a white person. My family's from Iraq. Half my family escaped Baghdad, Iraq. I still look at this and I go, how can a white person read this and not have some kind of strong emotional reaction to it, whether that be they become completely submissive and they start going along with the narrative, which a lot of white people are doing, or the scariest alternative, that they start becoming more extreme and having to identify with their whiteness and going to the alt-right or the more extreme white groups, because that's the only place where they'll belong. Okay, so let's see what happens when you type in black person. And this is very interesting as well, because you'll see what the media does here, or what the news is doing here, is perpetuating fear onto the black community, perpetuating the notion that they are very, very much going to be victimized for the color of their skin, despite the statistical probability, as I showed earlier, being unlikely. Now, I'm not saying racism doesn't exist. I'm not saying you can't be a victim of racism, and I'm not saying society shouldn't deal with racism, but I'm saying that every single 100% of the following articles coming out have to do with how black people are victimized. Let's just look at some of these headlines. I hate black people. Women evicted from apartment after. That's a story of racism. Black Facebook employee files racial discrimination. In other words, another victim of racism. Anti-black imagery. U.S. police kill up to 6 times more black people than white people. That's statistically false. I've done massive deep dives into the stats. I've done videos on it. I've showed the rate of killing in both communities when you take into account per capita statistics, when you take into account the amount of police interactions, the disproportionate amount of crime, and the actual numbers. The likelihood of being killed either way by a cop is statistically very unlikely. So that article right there is inflammatory, perpetuating fear that black people are being killed en masse by police. Banking while black. Incidents highlighted as protesters bring, etc. That it's dangerous to bank while being black. Just make it home. The unwritten rule blacks learn. In other words, that black people are so targeted in America that they have to worry about making it home. That white people are killing black people, if you read the article. Police are killing black people. That they are such targets that they have to worry about making it home. White people say they want to be an ally to black people, but, dear white people, here are 5 uncomfortable truths black people, and that article goes on, that's the headline, but the article goes on to explain how hard it is being black in America and how white people don't have any idea of the experience, on and on. The burdens of race and history of black people's health. A black man, 23, died in police custody in Colorado. Recommendations for how white allies can truly support black people. Another one talking about how white people are responsible for oppression and how white people can help black people. History of lynchings. So when you type in black people, lynchings comes up as one of the main things, and talking about the history of it. So what did we learn when we typed in black people? We learned that every single article, 100% of articles, have to do with black oppression, black people being killed, black people being targeted, black people being victims, and the narrative that it's all coming from white people and that white people are out targeting black people. That's the only assumption, again, that I could get seeing those narratives. It's no shock to me that when I talk to a friend who's African American, based on the information they're exposed to, that they truly believe when they say black bodies are piling up on the street, that white people are killing black people, all these things they say, despite the statistical reality of it, it's not shocking that they believe it. 100% of articles, 100% of the news at this point, when you type in black person, not black person killed, not black person victim, not black racism, just black person, is about black people being killed. So I decided to try 2 more search terms. I typed in the term black man, and this is what comes up. Why people like you get shot. Florida man charged with threatening black man checking mail. And this is about a white man, again, attacking a black man. A black man was shot in Denmark. Again, about a black man being killed by white police. And what are the pictures? The main one's George Floyd, and there's some other ones here. Arbery's here, and these are stories of black men who've been victims of white people killing black men. Let's keep going. How America perfected the art of demonizing black men. Deputies kill half-brother of black man found hanged in park. Now that one is just a crazy headline, because if you actually read the actual story of what took place, the brother pointed a gun and started shooting at police, and he shot back. But if you read that headline, that's a perfect example of, never mind just the search terms being messed up, that's a perfect example of misleading and biased news. This was a guy who was actively shooting at police, and they make it seem like police tracked down and killed the brother of someone who was hanged in a park. That's insane. Let's keep going. Palmdale victory, hangings of black men, and then it goes on to explain that. A black man, 23, died in police custody. We saw that one previously. Black man's fatal shooting by white security guard at Tulsa. No stories about black men and the breakthroughs they've done in technology, in science, on a daily basis, in education, in all these fields. There's no positive articles, none. I mean, you type in black man and it's all about black men being victims and dying and being killed and targeted. Nothing positive. Nothing that shows black people that they can have opportunity in the country. Nothing that celebrates black achievement. Nothing that actually shows anything positive. Everything is perpetuating fear and perpetuating racial tension. There's nothing on, interestingly enough, there's not one article on black crime when you type in black man. It's not black man kills black man shoots, you know what we just saw in Chicago. None of those articles comes up. Only white people killing black people or police killing black people. Those are the only articles that will come up. I don't see how anyone can objectively look at this and say that the media is not trying to perpetuate fear in the black community and racial division and tell black people that white people and police, especially white police, are out to kill unarmed black men. There's no alternative to what the media is perpetuating. The media is perpetuating a race war. Anyway, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And hit the little bell so you're notified when more videos come out.